On this episode of Off the Pitch, I've come to meet Millie Whitehouse, a forward for the University of Exeter and Exeter Chiefs. We discuss her placement year playing in Edinburgh, her ambitions for EUWRFC this season, as well as her involvement with Chiefs. So Millie, welcome to Off the Pitch, and we're here in Exeter. So I think talk to us about what's it like to be an Exeter student and a student in this city?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love Exeter. The city itself is amazing, like very bustling, very busy. And I think we're also really lucky that we're not too far from the beach, and we've got a lot of countryside around us as well, which is always really nice.
You have literally a bit of everything.
Yeah.
And we see so many success stories from the men's and women's game coming out of Exeter Uni. Why is that?
I think there's just been an amazing programme built here. I mean, we're so well supported as athletes, and like that's not just on the pitch but off the pitch as well. I mean, this term I've been part of the leadership group as well, and like that's just been an amazing way to kind of develop my leadership skills, as well as kind of having all that training on the pitch, having those gym sessions. It's a very well-rounded programme, and I think that's why we see so many successful athletes coming out of it.
Is leadership, you've touched on it there, is leadership something that's natural to you? Is that something that is a work on? Do you see like leader roles in the future for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always been kind of a very vocal player in the game. I've always been very loud and quite keen to kind of help each other within the game. But I think as well, moving on from that, I would really like to kind of be in a few more leadership roles, and I think that's where I really take a shine to things in the game. So it's been really great to have that support as well, just leading into my final year and thinking about next things. To have that support from Poppy and the rest of the team has just been amazing.
Well, you touch on Poppy there, Exeter Chiefs women's captain, someone that will evidently be a great aid for a leadership role, but also that aid in joining the university and Chiefs together. What is that like exposure with Chiefs like on a week-to-week basis? How often do you see a lot of the Chiefs girls? Are they in much? Are you there much?
So there's quite a bit of crossover in terms of we now have our athletic side, which is our second team, which is amazing. So we have some of the Chiefs girls coming in. In terms of a weekly exposure, we're kind of given week-to-week schedules just on what we expect in terms of training, whether that's at university or at Chiefs. So for me, I spent a lot of my time at Chiefs at the beginning of the year. So I had lots of exposure there and played the first few Prem games as well, which was absolutely amazing. And it wasn't something I was really expecting this year. My plan was to kind of just stay in the university setup, but I had an absolutely amazing opportunity to come in and kind of do some of the PWR up games, and then from there, I just went into some of the Prem games too, which was absolutely amazing and a little bit unexpected.
What's that like, running out in an unexpected appearance, as you say?
Yeah.
What's that feeling like? Pressure? Nerves?
Yeah, I was quite nervous before the first game, and I think it's only natural really to kind of feel that way.
100%.
But it was just so amazing to kind of, after being away, like pull on that shirt again and actually make my mark on the game as well. So
put your name out there, and sort of people get to see what you can offer from like a Chiefs standpoint, which I think is so necessary. And you say that PW Up series, we saw so many girls from a BUCS standpoint get appearances for clubs and get that exposure that they've taken back to their universities and sort of really grown on it, which is definitely a help. And I think sort of leading on from PW Up to Celtic Challenge, something that you took part in whilst you were in Edinburgh, which we'll touch on later. But like, how valuable are those sort of competitions for up and coming female rugby players? Yeah,
I think they're so incredibly important. I mean, it gives us so much exposure to a higher level, and I think that's exactly what we need. We see so much talent coming through the BUCS pathway. And we need kind of that outlet as well in terms of not just playing in BUCS, but getting that exposure to those higher levels. It makes such a massive difference, and you see the girls coming through and really pushing on. So like we see that not only through Celtic Challenge, like you said, but kind of the PWR Up series and also the Cup games and the Prem. It's just amazing to have that type of exposure at a young age. And I think as well, the brilliant thing about that is that you get to meet so many more experienced players than you. And for me, that's been really invaluable, and not only have I made friends, but I've also learnt so much from them. So that's something that I've really enjoyed as well.
I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. As you say, there's some experienced players that you've sort of got to work with, meet and learn from. If you could pick one sort of experienced player outside of Poppy that you could say you've really like learnt from and taken so much knowledge from, who would you say you could pick out?
I would have to say Clara Nielsen.
Okay.
I think she's been absolutely brilliant with me, especially kind of when I started transitioning from a centre to a hooker. That was a really big challenge, especially the throwing element. And Clara was absolutely amazing at that. And even when I had a bit of like a wobble and a loss of confidence, like she was always there. And she's always been very supportive, both on and off the pitch. And so that's always been amazing. So it will have to be Clara for me.
No, perfect. Okay, so we're here at Sandy Park. And obviously you are in a small group of players to have played for 2 WBSR teams.
Yeah.
Obviously we touched on it earlier, you had your year away at Edinburgh. What was that like, and what was that experience like being at another BUCS team?
Yeah, I think it was really interesting kind of transitioning from Exeter to Edinburgh, because I didn't really know what to expect at the time. We also weren't really sure kind of what that would look like for me in terms of coming into a new setup. So that was really interesting. But Shanks, she did a great job of kind of getting me involved, and it was great to meet another group of people as well. And like that was just, they were so welcoming, and I just had such a good time there. And it's so interesting because the styles of rugby vastly differ. Like Edinburgh is much more of an uploading game, very fast, free flowing rugby, and I feel like in Exeter as well, it's similar but also very different. So
I completely.
It was a bit of a challenge learning to play slightly differently, but it was very enjoyable at the same time.
Do you reckon you've come back sort of a better player for going away and having that year out, sort of experiencing something new?
Yeah, 100%. Like I think it really kind of opened my eyes to like vision and playing rather than just kind of having that narrow mindset. So I think it was a great opportunity for me to really expand my skill set and kind of just give another style of rugby a go, and I really, really enjoyed my time there, so I was very lucky.
And whilst you were there, you had the opportunity to represent Edinburgh Rugby Club in the Celtic Challenge. Talk to us about the Celtic Challenge, because obviously it's going on at the moment, and how much of a valuable experience was that for you as a player? Yeah,
I mean, I think it was kind of a bit of a shock at first that I was actually able to play, because previously it had just been Scottish qualified players, but because I was living in Scotland, I was allowed to participate as well, which was amazing. And I just think Celtic Challenge is exactly what the Celtic nations need right now. And I think a big thing for me whilst I was up there was seeing the absolute growth of women's rugby. I remember kind of coming off the pitch and like seeing young girls from clubs like asking for your autograph, and that was absolutely amazing. And like you see it down here, but like to have that in Scotland as well was just so
such
special.
A growing nation.
Yeah, and I think to be part of that inaugural team was just something so incredibly special, and like I really hold on to that. So I really, really enjoyed my time at Edinburgh Rugby, and I'm really looking forward to what the Celtic Challenge will bring. I think it's already kind of...
It's growing and growing.
It's growing already, and I think that's exactly what it needs to be doing, and it's getting so much more attention, which is absolutely amazing.
You're seeing the TV rights that it's getting to get those exposure for those players to then go out, and you're seeing the likes of Wales and Scotland grow. I mean, Ireland, in regards to are now competing in WXV1 and competing at that next level, there's a base for going forward in the years to come. And with the World Cup coming up in this year in 25, it'd be a really good sort of tester to see how much those sort of pathways are now contributing and helping out growing nations.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've obviously come back to a very strong Exeter University side. How would you say, obviously everyone sets out at the start of the season, most people want to win the league, most people probably want to win the cup as well. How would you say the season has gone compared to expectations at the start of the year?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, because in our pre-season we had a big theme for the year, and it was finding our greatness. And I think that's really been shown throughout our season. I mean, no one ever has a perfect season. No. It's impossible to do that. But I think, you know, we've really grown as a squad, and we've got some great individual players coming through. Like some of the freshers I've been so impressed with. Like I think Lily Plowman has been absolutely incredible for our side. And we've got other young players coming through like Amy Latham and Phoebe Weaver, who aren't playing necessarily week in, week out in the ones, but forming an incredibly strong foundation for the years to come. And I think that's what is so special about Exeter, is that there's just such depth in players. Like you're always fighting for your shirt week in, week out. You know, everyone's always nervously waiting for selection to come out because nothing's certain. And I think that's what's so amazing, is that everyone's fighting for a shirt. Everybody wants to be in that starting shirt, and I think that's just an incredible place to be in.
And like, even as you mentioned earlier, it's your last year.
Yeah.
You know you're leaving with a legacy of the club that's just growing and growing and growing, which is a great place sort of to leave an institution and know that you've left it in a good place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where, obviously we're coming to the real back end of the WBSR season now. Where's this season going? Like, where do you see yourselves? You can still mathematically win the league. You obviously have a very good chance of winning the cup as well. Where do you think this season will end?
Yeah, I mean, we're always hopeful that we are going to win the league. I think that's kind of the pinnacle of BUCS, so that would be absolutely amazing if we could do that. And I do think there is a really strong sense among the team that we want to be the cup champions as well. You know, we came so close to it 2 seasons ago. And, you know, I think we really felt that heartbreak at StoneX. I think we were all kind of feeling very down about that, but you can really see that there's a bit of a pick-up around that, and it's kind of the last year for some of those girls who were freshers when they played that game. And so I think there's just a sense that we really want to win it, and we really want to get there.
I think what we've seen is, since that day at the StoneX 2 years ago, Exeter have really they've always come out like they've got that point to prove. They've got that bit between their teeth and you want to get back there. And I think this year there is a very good chance. Obviously we've moved to Rodney Parade this year, a chance to make new history. And I think there's definitely the potential there, which is always really exciting. And on here we always sort of end with the final question, which is, what are your personal goals for 2025?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I mean, I'm always thinking about what I'm going to do as a postgraduate as well now, thinking on to like bigger things like that. But I would really, really love to kind of keep playing in the PWR and kind of keep up that elite level of rugby. That would be absolutely amazing. So I'm really excited about what's to come, and we'll just have to see.
I think it's looking promising. I think you'll be fine.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us today. It's been a
okay.
pleasure, and we hope the rest of the season goes how you want it to, and hopefully we'll see you at Rodney Parade.
Thank you very much.